Reddit. What is the most f***ed up way you got back at someone that wronged you? Throwaways encouraged. A school bully repeatedly knocked a binder from my best friend's hands every single day while we walked down the hall. Now we were in high school back in the pre-Columbine era, so people didn't freak out as often when kids did f***ed up shit. I convinced my friend to stick tacks through an entire side of his binder, turning it into an extremely dangerous spiked weapon, and just hold on extra tight while waiting for the bully to come do his thing. The kid lacerated his hand pretty badly. After he slammed his hand down into it, my friend held on and yanked back. Jackass didn't try that shit again. At an all-male military boarding school during high school, there was this huge douche on my hall. We took his Febreze bottle and filled it with piss. Then took said bottle and sprayed his pillow, wall locker and opposite corner. So he gets back, smells urine, and immediately grabs his Febreze and douses everything. Eat a dick. Donovan. Eat a dick. This thread equals Count of Monte Cristo. My friend pulled a fairly innocent prank on me to pay him back. As we got to a very busy airport to fly to Vegas, I put a lead-lined bag, used to protect film going through the X-ray machine, in his carry-on. I had to check his bag right there. In it I put a DLDO, a tube of anal ease lubricant, a loose deck of naked men playing cards, and dozens of extra small condoms. He of course looked horrified, pleading that it wasn't his, which it wasn't. But no one believed him. They put everything back laughing and he was allowed through. My girlfriend of 3 years that I dated through high school broke up with me my first semester of college. We went to different schools and I later learned she was hooking up with one of her guy friends there. Anyways, when we both were on break, she asked me to bring back all the stuff she had given me. Presents, sweatshirts, cards, etc. So I drive to her house with all the things we've exchanged in the past 3 years. Once I got to her house, I saw that she had invited all her friends over and they were sitting with her along with her parents in the garage. Anyways, I walk up with her shit and exchange. Everyone there had that smirk on their face like they were laughing at me. Anyways, as I give her back her things, I say, if only I could give back your virginity. The look on her parents' faces was absolutely priceless. And I walked out of that lion's den with the biggest smile on my face. My then high school girlfriend was a total bitch and wanted me to abandon all of my friends. Would always try to bring me down. Etc. When I got fed up, I broke up with her on picture day. She took them, but her mascara was everywhere. 2 days later, I told her that I was sorry, blah blah, and I wanted to get back together. She liked having someone to walk on, so of course she said yes. I then broke up with her again on retake day. F-king nailed it. My friend got roofied and RP'd by a frat FCK about a decade ago at a local high-toned university. Despite a ton of evidence, he was never arrested, never expelled, never had to face any sort of penalty for this, and managed to get my friend labeled a SLT who totally wanted it and was now only pretending it was RP because he wouldn't break up with his girlfriend for her. Pretty charming guy. Really. I put capsicum extract in his eye drops. I had a loud ass apartment neighbor that was always causing problems. My wife got fed up one night when him and his drunk friends were wrestling in the parking lot while making a ton of noise and called the cops. This was an angry drunk Mexican that decided to retaliate for the cops getting called by breaking my antenna off my car as soon as the cops leave. I fumed about the antenna for a week or so when the dick came back home drunk again at 6 AM, again waking me up as he thundered up the stairs. It wasn't till a couple hours later we noticed he left his keys in the door of his apartment. I snuck up the stairs and took his keys right out of the lock and chucked them in a ditch a block away. The best part was hearing him storm around tearing his place up looking for them. You could hear the prick moving furniture and shit. His truck had 2 separate alarms and after he lost his remotes he had to replace both of them. I regret nothing. My first high school BF was not very good with grades, so he asked me to make him a fake report so he could show his parents and not get into trouble. He also cheated on me with my best friend and dumped me. He then promised to get back with me if I forged the report for him. I agreed up until the day when we were meant to get our reports for school. I told him I didn't do it. He got bashed by his dad when he got home for the string of D's and F's. Good for you. But after reading a lot of these stories, I can't help but wonder how many sociopaths and egomaniacs are living out there. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean you. But rather your boyfriend. Did he seriously believe there was nothing wrong with her cheating on you then trying to bribe you with himself? Am I missing something, or is it just ridiculously delusional? From another post. When I was 7 or 8 I did a science project on the antibacterial efficacy of various soaps. Basically involved keeping hands dirty for a day, pressing grubby thumbs into petri dishes full of agar, then washing and doing the same again. I'd take tracings of the cultures. Bigger colonies were bad, smaller ones good. This ended up winning the county science fair for my grade in a large metropolitan area. So that was nice. But before that, after I'd finished the experiments but before I'd discarded the dishes, I got into a dispute with my parents. Don't remember what about. I thought, I'll show them. So I took the nastiest culture and swabbed it onto their bedroom doorknob. They both got sick as dogs and I had to take care of them for a couple of days. Served me right. TLDR. I waged bacteriological warfare against my parents using my science project. But I told them long ago and we laugh about it now. Not a throwaway. I'm damn proud of this one. 1. Next time you get smelly throw up drunk, throw up into a gallon freezer bag. 2. Put bag of throw up flat so it freezes in a solid sheet. 3. Wait till summer and said asshole leaves their car window down just a crack to let the heat out. 4. Slide your beautiful puke sheet into the window crack. 5. Laugh for days knowing that person will never figure out how they got puke in their locked car with just the window cracked. I've posted this before but couldn't resist. My older brother, who was in high school and a foot and a half taller at the time, threw me into the ceiling and let me drop to the floor. So for the next year or so I would wait until he would leave the house and go into his closet and pee in his shoes. I didn't tell him for around 20 years. But when I did he said, "You little bastard." I could never figure out why my feet always smelled so bad. I live in a very small town so locking your car doors is not very common. One day my friend played a prank by putting dog tea under my car seat on a hot summer day so my car smelled terrible for a week. At this time I was dating his sister and she would send me nude pics. One day I showed him a pic of just her boobs and he got excited and asked me to send it to him. I figured he was going to whack off to it so I sent it to him and then told him a few weeks later who it was. 6 years later I'm engaged to his sister and we still have never talked about it. When I was 7, the Monica Lewinsky scandal happened. And my name happens to be Monica. You can imagine what a bunch of immature kids like to call me. One girl who was several years older than me, whom I never talked to before, kept picking on me and calling me Monica Lewinsky. I asked her to stop, and she didn't. Keep in mind that this girl was pretty big compared to me. One day, she was playing on this jungle gym in the shape of a fire engine and was trying to balance. So I took advantage of her vulnerability and started tickling her. When I noticed she didn't like being tickled and was losing her balance, I continued to tickle, which was probably my innocent way of being violent. The girl eventually lost her balance, fell down, and broke her leg. When I saw her later on in a cast with crutches, she looked at me with this apologetic expression and never called me Monica Lewinsky again. She was afraid of me. A little 7-year-old girl. I can't decide whether OP is creepily brilliant or brilliantly creepy. No resulting suicides. Violent provocation. I'm going with creepily brilliant. I have one I'm about to do in a couple days. See, my parents suck. I've been taking care of them for a while also going to school and whatnot. And still they are trying to cheat me, pawn my things, etc. but I've become fed up with them. I'm out of town at the moment. But when I get back, the next time they ask me to walk 2 miles to get them a pack of cigarettes, I will walk outside, around the house, have a friend with a van come, bring my pre-packed tea out of the basement entrance, leave and stay at my friend's house for a few days until the day my train ticket is planned for, then move 2,000 miles across the country and live with another friend who just got me a job, rendering them worthless pillheads waiting for a pack of Pall Mall Menthol 100s for the rest of their sad lives. Hey man. Good luck. Sometimes there's no salvaging a situation, and it's best just to get the hell out. My sister used to beat me up, steal my birthday money, call me a fag in front of friends and girls I liked. When mom went shopping for Christmas, my sister would tell her to buy me these horrible clothes to make me look the part. Pretty much was just a total bitch to me. So every time I had to pee in the shower, I'd pee in her shampoo and body wash all over her razor, body sponge thing, everything. My so-called best friend in primary school stole my shiny Pokemon cards. I was only 6 or so at the time, but that didn't stop me from being a sadistic little first grader and having older brothers. Well, let's just say I knew how things worked. Guess who found out the truth about Santa, the Tooth Fairy and the Power Rangers all at once? Don't FCK with 6-year-old me. I've never been much of a fighter, but I had my day. I was driving on Port St. Lucie Boulevard and this truck was tailgating me like I've never seen. I really thought he was going to hit me. I pulled over to let him pass, and he gets in front of me and starts hitting his brakes. I pulled into a convenience store to get away, and he gets out. I'm a big guy, but this dude was a bear, towering over me. As soon as I sensed he was going to swing on me after I asked what his problem was, I gave him a quick jab to the throat and watched all 400 plus lbs barrel into the ground. I quickly ran back to my car and sped away before he got up and ate me. After reading through these comments, it's obvious to me that most of you need better friends. We're on Reddit. Leave us alone. Not my revenge, but my uncle got my aunt back pretty damn good. They'd just had their first kid, and he was worried my aunt was dealing with postpartum depression. So when he came home, she took a baby doll and catapulted it at the wall right in front of him. Naturally, he was freaked out, thinking she lost it and killed the baby. She had a good laugh, but 12 years later he got her back. He was slicing carrots and pretended to accidentally cut his fingers off. She was dialing 911 only to see him in a long overdue fit of laughter. He is a patient man. Kind of FK'd up, but I don't care. My ex was human garbage. She would continually beg for money and do nothing but yell at me and smoke weed. One day I just got sick of her shitty. I came home from a very long day at work and noticed she had taken my Civic, a very heavily modded 94 coupe, and had gone somewhere with her friends. She forgot that I had a car tracking system on the car and could locate it anywhere to within a few meters. I found my car in downtown Seattle and had my buddy drive me there. I had a spare key and alarm fob, so I threw her spare clothes and purse in the dirty parking lot, drove home and blocked her number before she could even call me. I even moved later that week, had been planning to for a while before this incident anyway, so I disappeared without a trace. There was a kid who apparently had a knack for spreading some pretty viscous rumors about me. I took a while to contemplate the most appropriate revenge, but he died in a fiery car crash before I could give him a Roman helmet. Viscous rumors. Ones that don't flow easily? Not me, but one of my co-workers at a restaurant was fooling around and hit one of the cooks in the head with a tomato or a piece of dough or something. Either way, when the culprit went to leave work, the cook was on top of the roof and dumped a bucket of water on his head as he walked out the door. My brother once stole my bag of Skittles and didn't admit to it, so I bought a bag and opened it carefully so that I could reseal it. I took every Skittle, except the green apple, out and replaced them with M&M. MS. The look on his face was priceless. Edit. For clarification, there were M&Ms and green Skittles in the bag. And he ate by the handful. So, no. It would not be delicious. A couple of years ago I had a boyfriend who was emotionally and verbally abusive to me. This boyfriend was also several inches shorter than me. I'm 5'9" and he is 5'3". One day I got so fed up with him I put all of his favorite foods in the pantry above the stove. A place a man of his diminutive stature could not reach. My friend hit me, jokingly, so I licked my hand and rubbed it all over his face. In hindsight, the fact that I kept doing it for weeks afterward was probably what made it weird. Are you my cat? My sister was dating this guy for a while and moved in with him about 2 years ago. She moved back home 6 months later because he arped her. My whole family wanted to press charges, but my sister flat out refused, saying he didn't mean to and shit like that. Fast forward a year later. The guy and a few of his friends got drunk and set off fireworks in some school buses in my hometown. Being drunk, he immediately told my sister about it. And she told me. I turned around with no hesitation and told the cops. He's still awaiting sentencing as far as I know. His friends turned on him for lighter sentences. He got kicked out of school and lost both his jobs. And I am so glad I did it. I lived incredibly well. I covered his ceiling fan with glitter. Fear me, Mothefkas. You are the worst kind of person. A female friend of mine was arped by a teacher in the school she attends. She wowed and reported out of fear for her life. But she did tell me who it was. He did horrible things to her, then threatened to kill her if she talked. He probably would have. I learned where he lived and knocked on his door one night. He goes to sleep fairly late. When he opened the door I stabbed him in the neck. Watched him bleed out, then went home. I burned the clothes and melted the knife. A couple years ago, whenever I went out with my friends, I'd notice anytime I'd put down my cigarettes a couple would go missing. So I decided to half unpack one. Put some gunpowder in it, not enough to hurt anyone, and then repack it. I left my pack out for bait and just played the waiting game. Later that night I got to watch it blow up in one of my buddies' face. The pure look of shock and him almost shitting himself is this one of my favorite memories. Also, no one stole my smokes after that. My past girlfriend cheated on me. And her roommate at the time had gotten to that point in their lease where they weren't super fond of each other and kept some distance. Her roommate was smoking hot. Kind of bitchy sometimes. And wasn't fond of my ex, so I decided to make a move on her. Best move ever. The look on my ex's face when her roommate walked me to the door in her underwear after the first night was priceless. We proceeded to have hot, dirty, loud sex almost nightly for next 8 weeks until their lease was up, and for a while after that. My ex even walked in on us in the living room once. Kinda dickish. But goddamn was it fun, and there's no way I felt bad about it. TLDR, my GF cheated on me. This is pretty minor, but it especially comes in handy this time of year. I absolutely hate how shitty people get towards each other this time of year. Especially while driving. That's why I always keep a bottle of ketchup in the car. If someone is really rude to me, I wait for them to go in the store and then cover all of their door handles with ketchup. It's just mean enough to piss them off without causing any real damage. One time there was this guy that really pissed me off. So I got back at him on the internet. I had a lady driving me nuts across the street. I emptied 200 store-bought cricket in her front door mail slot. I dated this girl for around 3 years. And we had the most incredibly passionate yet violent relationship. Towards the end we did anything to hurt each other. And were doing the off again on again thing. At one point when we were on again, she had asked to do some laundry at my house and brought over all her clothes. I'm talking everything. 3 laundry baskets. With the exception of the clothes she was wearing, everything. Now it's important to know that not only was she huge into trendy and fashionable clothes, But she also worked as a manager at a local thrift store in a swanky part of town where she would acquire her wardrobe. So the next day she informs me she doesn't want to see me that night and that she is doing a booty call with this guy I hate. So I took all of her clothes and donated them to her thrift store. Figured she could buy them back.